Ready to go? I'm super excited to introduce Aaron Conant. I did ask him how to pronounce that last name because I thought I would do it as Frenchly as possible, and then he said, no, don't bother. So I'm super excited about his session, but I want to tell you just a little bit about him. He is the co-founder and managing director of Ecom Advisory, which is a networking and knowledge sharing group comprised of over 50,000 industry professionals. He's assisted over 3,000 brands with their digital growth strategy and is an expert in helping brands select the best partners and industry connections to enable growth, hence why he hangs out with Seller Labs. His background in project management, as well as uniquely synthetic organic chemistry, give him a unique perspective, and I will say, because that's a very unique background, on how to simplify the sometimes overly complicated world of e-commerce. So, Aaron, we're excited.
Hey everybody, I'm pumped. Are you guys pumped? Yes, right, it's the last day and it's been great. And the cool thing is a lot of what I'm gonna cover, we've already covered, which is good because it's bad to get up here and then have to go back and correct a lot of people. So I'm excited because this is something I do on an ongoing basis and it's something I'm passionate about. And it all started 8 years ago. So about 8 years ago, I was working in corporate America, a company called Perigo, and there's an industry awards banquet, and I was sitting there at a table, and there was a CEO from a Fortune 500 company, and he heard me talking to the guy next to me, and he said, hey, you're into that e-com stuff, right? And I was like, well, e-com? Like, yeah, e-com stuff. You mean like launching your own website, platforming, replatforming, paid digital media, SEO, SEM, the placing pixels on site, tag management, launching Amazon, both 1P and 3 content around it, AMS, AMG, yeah, that e-com stuff, we're into it. He's like, yeah, I get it. He said, I get it. He's like, but I don't get it, but I get it. He said, here's something that I want you to know, and it'll be meaningful and impactful, and it's all around ownership. And he said, ownership doesn't mean you do everything. And when I hear you talking right now, you're talking about everything that you are doing. It's like ownership isn't about you doing absolutely everything. Ownership is about taking whatever you own to its highest possible potential. When you're doing that, what you're doing and the company you're going to do it and wherever you end up, you're going to have to rely on others to get you there. And that's true ownership. And sometimes those will be employees you hire, right? And sometimes that's going to be outsourcing. What's going to be key is not just hiring the right people internally, but knowing when to go outside to get the right experts as well. So that's where we get to today, which is all around understanding the complexities of finding the right partner to help you grow. So on an annual basis, I talk to about 1,600 brands, and this is one of the key things that I'm helping them out with because everybody in this space needs help. So we're going to just walk through that today. I have an agenda up here. Previous part of my career, besides being a chemist, I was a project manager. And something that I learned was when you're having a meeting, anything like this, you're getting people together, 3 key things. The first one, start on time. The second one, and sometimes starting on time, might be starting 2 minutes late to give everybody a chance to get from their last meeting, get a cup of coffee, Facebook, text, whatever they want to do. The other one is put out an agenda. When you put out that agenda, people are going to look at it, and there might be people looking at it right now saying, hey, you know what? None of this applies to me, and they can get up and they can go take care of email. Put out an agenda so people know what you're going to cover, and if they don't want to be there, don't be there. And if there's parts of this you want to tune out to, you can tune out to it. We're all busy people. The last part, the key to having fantastic meetings and getting projects done on time is to wrap your meetings up early. So we're going to wrap this one up early as well. Everybody loves the gift of time. So a little introduction here. So my name is Aaron Conant, Managing Director, a company called Ecom Advisory. We have 50,000 people in the network. About 6,000 of them are directly in the digital space today. This is everybody from startups to Fortune 100s. We have free networking, knowledge sharing sessions, one-on-one calls, everything from in-person dinner events to full day events to interactive conference calls where people can just hit *5 We limit these to industry professionals as a whole. We don't want a ton of service providers on those. It's networking and knowledge sharing because everybody in here is here to learn. I think you guys also, if you took a step back and you look, you'd realize that you are the industry professionals that are out there. So that's a little background on myself. And now, while I'm talking to these brands, what I found over and over again is, this is my scientific background coming out, was I would talk to two very similar brands, and one of them would choose to outsource and one would not. And sometimes they would both choose to outsource. And then there would be different levels of these companies that would accelerate and others wouldn't. And sometimes they're similar companies and they're going to similar type partners, and one would excel and would not. And then another time you'd have similar companies that go with the exact same service provider, and one would excel and the other one wouldn't. And so for me, as a data scientist in the background, it's troubling. I try to dig deep and figure out, why were some people excelling in different circumstances and other people not? And so this presentation today is kind of, all the findings that I got out of that, and what I found is the best-in-class companies as a whole doing when they went to find a strategic partner. This is what those companies are doing above and beyond what everybody else was doing, and then they're the ones that are actually succeeding in the end. And the first thing that I want to go back to is ownership. This is why I said it all started 8 years ago when I had that interaction with that Fortune 500 CEO and just had an impact on my life as a whole. This is my house. It's 4670 Golden Ridge Trail, Portage, Michigan, 49024. And I know everything about this house. I know it's 4 steps from the back patio to that little green slide when the young one goes off the bottom and is screaming, and you have to 4 quick steps to pick him up. I know how much it costs to heat it. I know how much it costs to cool it. I know how long it takes me to mow the lawn. I know how long it takes me to trim the bushes. I understand everything about this house. But that doesn't mean I do everything. There is a certain level of employees that I need to bring into my house. Here are 4 of them. These are all internal, these are in-house. I brought these all in-house. Logan, Braden, Megan, Ethan. Logan, he's the oldest. He is now mowing my lawn for me. Braden is the next one over. He is my 10-year-old. There are 6, 8, 10, and 12, by the way. So I was project manager. My wife was a process engineer. And so, yeah, go find out they have very similar birthdays as well. One has hit their growth spurt. The other one hasn't. So Logan's he's mowing my lawn now. Braden, he's in charge of dishes. Megan's in charge of cleaning floors, and Ethan, the little redhead, he's just a wild child. He wrestles the new puppy. We just got a puppy because, everybody with 4 kids needs more poop and pee to clean up. So anyways, these are all my in-house employees, but this isn't what I want to talk about. I want to talk about you, right? And what you guys are doing in your business. That's what's one of my businesses is the Home Life. I want to talk about you and your business and what it means to own it. And those brands and those sellers and those manufacturers that are winning, it all starts around ownership. And believe it or not, the first thing is net income. So I loved this talk, right? Now, Nathan's earlier with Free Up, you have to understand your finances. And you would be surprised. It's probably close to 65% of the people that I'm talking to don't understand their net income. They'll say, hey, I'm doing $5 million on Amazon. I was like, that's fantastic. How much are you bringing home? What do you mean, how much am I bringing home? What do you mean, how much? How do you pay your bills? How do you pay your insurance? How did you put gas in your car to get to work? What is your net income? And so in some cases, right, you're going to sit back and you're like, hey, I don't actually own the company. But I guarantee if you own whatever you're doing, you can apply these exact same principles. Number one, understand your net income. I talk to a lot of people doing $5+ million a year with a 1% profit margin. I mean, you might want to talk about selling your business and getting a job in corporate America. What's crazy is if you're a seasoned Amazon sales rep in corporate America today, your starting salary is $185,000 plus bonus. I know that's a lot of money, right? So you want to take a step back and understand what your net income is a whole. The next part of it, right, is your profit margin by channel. How many people sell on different channels? Does everybody sell on different channels? Right. And everyone probably has a different profit margin. right? And this is going to be critical when you start to get into the next phase of evaluating where you want to go, who you want to hire, how you want to grow. You want to focus on those channels that are actually making you money. If you talk to Fortune 100 companies and Fortune 500 companies that are selling on Amazon today, if you're in the CPG category, you're in low single-digit margins on Amazon. Low single digits. So if you guys are outpacing that, you're doing great. They are right now, they're not shifting money into Amazon. They're actually stopping additional inflow of money. The last 5 years, every year over year, they've been pouring more and more money into Amazon, either merchandising or AMS, or I know it's Amazon advertising now. I'm just going to call it AMS and AMG. It's now, and so they're actually diverting money. They actually stop that inflow, and now Facebook, direct-to-consumer sites, these things are really picking up. And when Amazon pulled the whole vendor PO issue they did at the beginning of March, everybody, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but a lot of vendors got shut off for roughly a week. They got an email that said, hey, like you're no longer a vendor, you're now going to be a seller. If you guys got that email, heads up, you've been tagged as a seller. And in 6 to 9 months from now, you're going to get that same email again. It did not go out by accident. It was not a mistake. Amazon does not make mistakes that big on emails that go out to everybody. What they didn't realize was the massive backlash that they were going to get, the panic and wailing in the streets, right? That's what, if you got that and it said go do brand registry isn't for the vendors. It's to manage, mainly to manage the content on the seller side. And they're saying, hey, in order for you to be a vendor going forward, you need to go do this thing that's only for sellers. Heads up. So take a look at these different channels that you're selling in. Understand your product story. Some people call it a brand story. I just call it a product story because a lot of times you guys are managing different brands. But what you're doing, understand your product story. And why is that important? Because we're talking about going out and finding partners to help you with your business. So don't get me wrong. If you're looking for a freight negotiator to decrease your LTL or UPS, FedEx, or you're looking for chargebacks, something like that, you probably don't need to nail down product story for that. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to help manage your Amazon account, manage your AMS, do your SEO, build your direct-to-consumer site, you want to align with people who get your business. When you focus on just bringing on a service provider, you've missed it. You want to bring on not a service provider, you want to bring on a partner. You want to bring on an advocate for your brand that they're behind you. So a lot of times brands will reach out like, hey, can you connect me? You talk to this brand and they sell coffee mugs and you connected them to this paid digital media company. Can you connect me? That I'd love to have that. I can connect you. I'll connect you with anybody. But they specialize in ceramics and you're selling dog food. This doesn't make sense. You don't even have, this is what I need to connect you with the people that are passionate. Probably somebody based out of, like Colorado right now that's huge in the outdoors and they love pets. Oh, by the way, we've got 2 agencies. Let me connect you with somebody over there. You need to know your brand story because if you're connecting with a partner, like doing an interview, you need to be able to explain to them. And it's important to understand what they're currently doing is what you're trying to sell. And if you don't have your product story to tell them, they don't know any difference. Of course, they're in it for profit. They do want your business, but you're the one doing the interview. So now we're going to get into, when you're looking into those partnerships as a whole, the staffing that you currently have. Where are you at today? Are there holes that need to be filled? This gets back to the classic we've all heard. The bus. Do you have the right bus? Are you putting the right people in the seats? And a lot of times people don't even have enough people to fill the seats on the bus. You need to do that in-depth look around what everything needs to be done. And if it's just you and one other person, maybe it works. Maybe you don't want to grow. But if you're doing a look at your time management and you're working, 20 to 23 hours, was it Nathan from Free Up, right? He's working 20 hours a week. He didn't have enough staff. That's one evaluation that you're going to have to do. I'll take a pause there, but just to say, this also gets back to net income. Maybe you don't have enough money in the channel you're in to even hire additional staff. Next one is expertise, right? Hey, I've got 120 people on my bus, but nobody's in the right seat. Or I've got 5 people on my bus and they're all sitting in the exact same seat. A lot of times people are hiring friends and family and that's fantastic. You have a small business, but you need to have a realistic look around whether or not you have the right expertise in-house to be able to win. And the last one is turnover, right? It's how often are you seeing people get up and leave your company? The average tenure right now for a digital expert is anywhere from 18 to 24 months. So a lot of times it can be shorter if it's friends or if it's family, or if you pay them a ton of money, they're not going to move on, right? But 18 to 24 months for you to have somebody and then be retraining, it doesn't matter how fast your bus is or how big and powerful, or if you have everybody in the right seats on that bus right now, every time somebody has to get off your bus, you need to stop it. And when you stop, when your bus stops moving, the rest of the world doesn't, right? And we know the rate of change for e-commerce today, digital commerce, whatever we're calling it, omni-channel, uni-channel, whoever you talk to, it's changing so fast, you probably don't have the time to stop your bus. If you have 6 people, stopping that every 4 to 8 months to let people off and then onboard new people. Because it's not like you are going 80 miles an hour, you stop to let somebody off, and you start off at 80 miles an hour, you have a bus. You don't have a Ferrari here. It's not 0 to 80 in 1 second, right? It's a bus, and it takes time to get momentum and to build out that team. And so when you're stopping that bus over and over and over again, you're falling further and further and further behind. So look at those different areas that you are, and when you're turning, if you have a very exact area that you're turning over constantly, that might be a strategic area for you to look and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to hire somebody inside anymore. I need to find a strategic partner that I'm going to pay, but this is their expertise and this is what they love to do, and they've been around for 3 years. You know, a lot of times, hey, you know, oh, it used to be, hey, I want a company that's around for 30 years, but most of the digital agencies around today haven't been around for more than 8. So you want to make sure that this is an area that you're looking into. So ownership, right? This is the main part. The next one is all around planning, right? And this was something that Nathan touched on. So I'm from Michigan. He said go out to the lake. There are lakes that you can attend in Michigan about 2 months out of the year. Now, if you're planning sessions in January, bring an ice auger, a shanty, and a bunch of little short fishing poles and ice fish. Yeah, fun time. Take this time to plan. A lot of people that I'm talking to, both small and large businesses, they're not even taking a day out of their year to stop everything and plan. Hey, I can't afford to do this for a day. I can't afford to give up 2 days. The best in class, the brands that I see, manufacturers, retailers, large and small, that are winning are ones that are dedicating, setting aside time on at least a bi-monthly basis to fully focus on their company and carving everything else out. Right, I mean, there's that, it shows up on LinkedIn all over the place now. It's Bill Gates and what's his name, Buffett, right? Warren Buffett. And they're talking about how busyness is the new stupidity, or, being dumb, right? It's the exact opposite. It's people who fill up all day, every day with those menial tasks, and they're not setting aside a time to plan. So I'd encourage you on a bi-monthly basis to take a pause. I think you'll actually enjoy that day, right, where you take a pause to plan. And when you're doing it, what are you good at? Right? We're talking about, in this case, I would need to go out and find a new partner. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you're good at everything, and that's fantastic. Maybe you've hired perfectly for every different part of your business, and that's fantastic. But you need to sit down and understand over the course of a day what you're actually good at. Next part is the companies that defined their processes, right? What's your process? And apply this to every piece of your business. How are you managing inventory today, right? Is it FBA? Do you have your own direct fulfillment center? How are you handling advertising? How are you creating content? How often are you updating content? How often are you reviewing your current detail pages? How often are you checking the marketplace as a whole? Are you monitoring pricing? Do you have SEO, SEM that you're running on your direct-to-consumer site? Do you have a direct-to-consumer site? Do you want to launch a direct-to-consumer site? Right? How often are you reviewing your employees? How often are you setting new expectations? I mean, this is an in-depth thing, and this is why it's not, hey, you're just a one-time thing you're going to do once a year for 8 hours. No, this is a bi-monthly thing, because if you haven't gone through this in-depth detail today, it's probably going to take you multiple sessions to work through it all. But just remember, even if you only went through half, you only went through half of all your processes, you're literally light years ahead of 95% of the businesses that are out there. So, that's that whole, don't get worried if you didn't do it all in one session. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just keep working and working and working, but understand the processes that you have today. How are you handling finance? How do you determine your net income? How do you pay your employees? These are all things that you need to look at. Next thing is a realistic look at how big you are now. Maybe you're happy, right? I talked to a guy, he's 70. His business does $10 million a year. He has a 20% profit margin. He doesn't want to grow. He straight up said, I don't want to grow. I'm making good money. I'm here. I'm loving my life. I'm 70 now. I don't want to work harder. I can go anywhere I want, whenever I want with my wife, and it's awesome. I was like, oh, I want to be there. That would be amazing, right? He doesn't want to go. So, but how big are you? And how big do you want to be? Maybe you don't. Maybe you are. Just like that guy who's 70, he's selling tons of kitchen faucets everywhere on the planet. Kitchen faucets. And he's making good money, and he loves it. So just determine, how big do you actually want to be? Does everybody in this room want to grow? Awesome. All right, cool. I mean, sometimes people, they don't. And that's perfectly fine. But if you want to grow, there's certain things that you have to do. And one of those is determine whether or not you can get there with the current people that you have. And it's very simple, then the next one, right? It's where do you need help? If you can't get there, if you can't see that path there, where do you need help? So the next part, though, that's very, very key is all around honesty, right? Be honest about your business, right? I love these guys sitting up here because this happens all the time. Everybody overvalues their business because it is your baby. It's something that you grew. It's something that you want a 10 to 15 multiple on. That would be amazing, right? But let's be honest about your business as a whole. How big are you? What is your net income? How much staffing do you have? What's your potential to grow? And one of the key things about being honest with your business is when you're interviewing partners, and I say interviewing because you shouldn't just talk to one necessarily. When you're interviewing partners, you need to be honest with them about where you're at, right? You need to be able to explain all those details about your business so they understand it, so they know whether or not to get into business with you. You need to be honest about your employees. Can they actually do their job or not, right? And sometimes that's hard, right? My oldest is 12. He says, Dad, I want to come work for you. I'm like, okay. I mean, I just say a lot of small businesses, they do have family employees. You need to be able to be honest about what your current capabilities are in-house. Just because they got a digital marketing degree doesn't mean they're great at creating content. Doesn't mean they're great at creating digitally optimized content, updating detail pages. Doesn't even mean that they're expert at doing SEO, SEM, doesn't matter, paid media, anywhere you want. You need to be honest about them. This one isn't highlighted. It's about your boss. So if you do have a boss, if your boss is the decision maker and your boss does not want to hire an outside agency, well, you have to be honest about it. Because in the end, when you're evaluating partners, you have to be honest with them. They want to know all of this information up front. If your boss is never going to let you hire an outside agency and you go through 3 or 4 meetings with a potential partner, that's very inconsiderate to them. Right? And you could think, hey, it's just a sales pitch. No, those guys have a business that they love as much as you love your business, right? And you just met with them 3 or 4 times to vet them out, to determine they're absolutely the best, and then you have to tell them, hey, I can't hire anybody because the boss didn't say. He said I couldn't. That's the same as people ordering 20 to 30 products from you on Amazon and returning them all a week later and said it was your fault because they were defective even though you knew they weren't. It's that exact same situation. These partners, They're passionate about what they do. They love what they do. They want to help you out, but they don't want to waste time on you either. The next thing that's huge to consider is the network. Who are you actively interacting with today? Right? Because a lot of us sit in our own bubble and we're so intimately focused on our business and what we're doing, we don't pop our head up to connect with other individuals. I mean, that's why these events are awesome, right? I mean, there are this great, fantastic presentations put up with a purple background. There's lots of great people here talking, but a lot of this, and what I enjoy the most out of this, is just connecting with other digital experts in the space as a whole, having a conversation about business, who's winning, who's losing, how they're doing it. Networking is amazing, and that's how you figure out how you're performing in the market. You need to understand the market as a whole and where you're doing, and specifically around your vertical. I'll talk to a lot of companies and say, hey, you know what? I grew 35% year over year. I'm in the supplements category. I was like, well, that's awesome. Did you know that category on Amazon was up 85% year over year last year? And like, I didn't even know that. Like, how do you know that? I network. I talk to people. I go to industry events like this. It's part of the reason. So my background was at Perigo. I built a mid-8-figure Amazon business, a direct-to-consumer site. We're doing 3 to 4 million. We launched then everything over in the EU, Tmall Global, not much in Australia because it was not selling those products at that point in time, but Amazon, Amazon Canada, very little of Mexico because they're just trying to get all the OTC pharma market figured out. But what I found over and over again is I didn't know how big I should be. My only gauge for how big I should be or how much I was growing was whether or not I was a #1 bestseller on Amazon. If I got to be a #1 bestseller, I knew I was beating the market on Amazon, but I didn't know any place else. So you need to be able to connect with people. And it's part of the reason we kicked off Ecom Advisories, to provide a network for brands to get together and share. And so you'll have to be networking on a continual basis. You have to understand who your competition is. And people say, hey, I can't talk with my competition. That's not true. You can. Now, you're not going to get into finances, right? But you need to understand where people are playing and who else is in your sandbox. You know, who and what toys they're playing with as a whole. Because sometimes you just see somebody over the corner with a giant dump truck. Like, I want that dump truck. They're in your sandbox. Go talk to them. You say you can't do that. We host a lot of in-person events. We do dinners. We just did a dinner last week. We had J&J, Reckitt, we had Bayer and Pfizer all in the same room at the same time, and they were all talking. They weren't sharing trade secrets, right? They were talking e-commerce, and if there's one area today that people are the most open to sharing, including your competition, they'd probably love to talk to you too, right? It's in digital commerce. Like, we're the fun people out there right now, right? We're this weird mix between IT and marketing, right? That's what we're like. And so we can talk and we can communicate, but we also understand all the digital back end. It's amazing. And people are open and willing to talk. You have to understand, though, who your competition is. And a lot of times in the case of you going and looking for a partner that you want to connect with, you need to know who's working and who's not. How do you find that out? Are you going to ask? You can do a Google search, right? Best SEO agency, right? Literally the worst way to find an SEO company, right? Best Amazon agency. Literally the worst way to do it, right? It's better to ask. How do you find out about the newest restaurant? And if you want to go there, you talk to a friend. Hey, did you go to the new Black Rock restaurant? Yeah, and it was horrible. Okay, then I won't go there and spend $80 on dinner. Remember, I've got 4 kids. It's expensive everywhere we go. How do you know if you're networking? People will tell you, right? You can ask them straight up, who's working for you? It's not. It's that in that personal referral across your life is the best referral of all time. How do you get those if your head's down? You can call up, you can even go to Google and then go ahead and reach out to every one of those people and then get their robocalls, every one of them, every other day, right? Get their emails every other day and go through all of that. You can talk to every single one of them and every one of them is going to tell you, I am perfect for you. And you know they're not. So talk, network, right? Follow up from this event. I don't know, anybody you've met, ping them on LinkedIn. They want to talk to you as much as you want to talk to them. So I encourage you guys to network so you know who's working, who's not, but also be aware of the next opportunity. Does it even fit for you? So right now, the biggest question I have for the next opportunity, right? So we get a lot of questions, hey, I want to go to China, okay? Yeah, everybody, there's 1 billion people over there, but let's tackle something a little bit simpler, right? Target Plus. Everybody wants to know about Target Plus. I don't know if you guys want to know about Target Plus, but lots of brands want to jump on Target Plus. How much do we know about Target Plus today? Right? They're hush hush. The only way we know about it is actually by talking. So currently what's happening with Target Plus right now is they want very, very few sellers. Do you remember when they went to Canada and they blew $2 billion trying to go to Canada? I mean, I was at Perigo, we actually supplied them with their private label Up and Up brand, and they invited us there. And when you walk into a Target and there's empty store shelves, like completely empty aisleways. It was when you put a straight up project manager inside of it, in charge of it, that was their major failure. And he hit a timeline regardless of who was in, regardless of where any of the material had showed up. They opened the doors on the day they were supposed to, but there just wasn't product there. They had like literally like entire aisles of just diapers because they had no wipes or no other kinds of diapers. It was just all diapers. They blew it. And they are very, very trepidatious about doing that again. So right now, Target Plus is primarily targeting 1 to 2 sellers for any particular product. It's irritating a lot of brands that are out there because they'd love to be on the marketplace, but a lot of the brands can't actually fulfill the shipments. So in a lot of cases from Target Plus as a whole, if you're not being contacted and you're wondering, there's some very big sellers, primarily on Amazon or on eBay, that they've already contacted to sell your products in most cases. And in most cases, they only want 2 sellers. They don't want the experience of Amazon with 500 different sellers, everybody trying to get buying yours and reselling it everywhere if you're a brand, right? One of the biggest things I get is unauthorized reseller prevention. How do I yank those people off from all this fun stuff? You guys know it. And so they don't want that experience. I wouldn't know about any of that if I wasn't networking. But that's the next opportunity that people want to talk about. I don't know if it's right. I don't know how it's going to work out. Target doesn't even know how it's going to work out. That's why they're being so quiet about it and they're rolling it out so slowly. But you need to know about the next opportunity. Is the EU right for you? Is China right for you? Is eBay right for you? Right? If you're not selling liquidated product right now, eBay's probably not the best spot for you. That's the strategic focus for them. So I'm going to this is the first part of a wrap up around partner selection. The ones that I bullet pointed, these are the key ones that I thought as I was going back through, that if you were going to focus on a few things, the ownership piece, that staffing, the expertise, and the turnover. Next one is, planning, can you get where you want to go? Maybe you're already there. And do you need help getting there? The next one is a key one about being honest around yourself and the business, your employees, and with the partners you're trying to select. And the next one is, around understanding the network as a whole, the competitions out there, who's working, who's not, how big should you be, how fast you should be growing. And now the next part is partner success, right? And I have a lot of calls from people that already talking, they're already talking to a partner, or they're already working with a partner today, and they need to say, hey, I need to know, right, should I stay with this partner or should I switch? And I mean, I don't know. Like, we've only been talking for 30 seconds here. Let's walk through what you're doing. In a lot of cases, what we find is, you have an awesome partner. Maybe they're a traditional agency of some point, so a lot of it's an Amazon agency. Maybe they have a traditional brick and mortar agency that they're working with that's now handling Amazon. And I just explained to them, hey, you know what? Like, brick and mortar is like a boat, and the agency you have today is a boat mechanic. And that boat mechanic is perfect for that boat. But Amazon's a Ferrari. And now you're telling me that you're having a boat mechanic work on your Ferrari? You would never do that in real life, right? And they're like, oh, no, but the boat mechanic has the Ferrari running. I understand the boat mechanic can get the Ferrari running. It's just not going to ever go 280 miles an hour like you want it to go. And so you need to be able to evaluate your current partner, and then you need to trust them. So if you found that partner and you've selected them and they're the right one for you, you need to be able to trust them. And this is something Nathan was saying earlier, like, you know what? You are going to share intimate details of your business with them, and there is a level of risk that people are going to take, right? That you're handing over your finances and all your details. People can try to get that information anyways if they really wanted to, right? I mean, they're just going to. You can't do it. You have to be able to trust them. If you want to hamstring them so they can't perform, you can't blame them in the end for not performing. And this is where we get into accountability, right? Whose fault is it that the partnership didn't work out? And you have to be real, right? You have to be real. There are partnerships that don't work out, right? But whose fault was it? Because if you don't have that deep introspective look that it was really you can go find 8 different partners and none of them are going to work out. But you need a partner to excel you to the next level. If that's what you've determined, you said, hey, I need help here. Don't waste your time going through partner after partner after partner and blaming them. It's not a great way to go. So I'm going to wrap it up there with a brief time of Q&A. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Love to have you. I mean, here's my name. There's my email address. You can go to ecomadvisory.com. If anybody wants to sign up, we don't sell anything. We limit service providers from dialing into our calls or in-person events. We trim all that out. What we want is an intimate discussion. So if anybody wants, just shoot me an email, reach out to ecomadvisory.com. Everybody's welcome to join. Should I take any questions?
Yeah, so I use Aaron. Aaron's got like the Rolodex of Rolodex. So I call him. I've had a couple people here ask me some questions like, I want to replace my order management system. Who should I look at? Some people, I had a couple questions like that come up at dinner last night, and like Aaron's kind of my go-to. And typically Aaron's response is, I don't know. I need to ask you a few questions before I tell you who you should look at, right? So life isn't easy and just saying like, oh, well, go call these 4 people. It depends on where your business is at, what you're trying to accomplish, all the things we just did. So do we have any questions? Otherwise, we can take a break. Get everybody up and moving. Questions? Any questions? Awesome. Then we'll take a break. We'll come back here at 10 till 3. So we'll do a 30-minute break. We're going to keep it at 30 minutes so we can end the day early because nobody will complain about that.
Absolutely.